Hi, everyone. Paul here. Thanks for being here. Today, I'd like to talk to you about IQ versus EQ, as in intelligence quotient versus EQ equalization versus EQ emotional quotient. Emotional quotient, for me, is one of the most important elements you can bring to your mixing, because it's a way to have empathy and to feel the emotional content of what the music and the artist is trying to convey in their song, in their songwriting for that one record. So it's really important to see what the music, listen closely to the music and see what it feels like. But more importantly than that, it's important for you to listen and feel what the music makes you personally feel like. Okay? That's going to give you the inside scoop on what this should be. When you hear a song, or you hear a melody or the sound of a voice, the emotion in the vocal, or a chord change, or a cool surprise in the music, you instantly are going to feel something. And that, by being sensitive to that, by being empathetic to whatever's going on and how that makes you personally feel, that's going to help you make better, more artistic, deeper decisions for your equalization, for your reverb and delays, for your automation rides, and all of it. And you have to make bold moves and be willing to mess up. You have to be willing to make a mistake and to fail, because there's either winning or there's a learning. There's really no failure, so to speak. When you fail, you learn, as long as you can process that in that way. So your curiosity meter should be pegged. You should be looking and searching for the most important elements on what you can bring sonically to a record, to a song, to bring it a more unique point of view, a more dynamic point of view, a more emotional point of view. Just on the most basic level, if a song is somber and sad and has angst or whatever, you're probably not going to have it all bright and zippy, because that kind of implies happiness and for something to be sprightly and joyful. You're probably going to be darker in your tonality. You're going to be more murky or smoky. You're going to have certain moods within the sonic landscape, in the reverbs you use and the delays, that are going to emphasize or exaggerate whatever the mood is of that record. I truly, for me, believe that emotional quotient is really what makes the biggest difference in somebody becoming really successful at mixing, and mixing a wide, broad array of music in different genres, and to be really special and develop their own sound, their own style, their own flavor, versus somebody who does things technically. All through my life, I've always said, never let school get in the way of your education. It's really important to not just be given information and say, well, that's the rule. That's what I'm always going to do. I get a vocal. Well, of course, I'm going to use this EQ, and I'm going to add some top end shelf, and I'm going to add some presence, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to compress this many dB or whatever. Don't get caught up in repetitive habits that are going to limit your expressive potential in mixing. Okay? And just because you're wandering doesn't mean you're lost. Like I said, you have to be willing to totally go down the wrong path and make a mistake to be able to know to go this way. But if you just do everything safe, everything's in balance, everything is EQ'd nicely and in its place, and you do your little rides and stuff, you're probably going to end up with a good mix, but you're probably not going to end up with a great mix, because the great mixes are the ones that you don't listen to, okay? You step inside the song, inside the mix, and live it. You feel the emotional content of what that song is conveying. That's the key. And when I'm mixing, a lot of times I'll keep searching and searching and writing and doing crazy moves and this and that, or do little effects here and there. Not because I want to be, hey, look, mom, no hands engineering, or look at me, what I do. I'm so tricky at mixing. I'm looking for flavor. I'm looking for moments, and I'm looking for an emotion to bring forward so the listener can experience the song. Not listen to the song, experience the song. And in doing so, a lot of times I'm actually brought to a place when it finally clicks and I go, wow, I'm really getting it. I'm really feeling this song. This is really amazing. I'm probably going to reach a state of becoming emotional almost. I've been moved. I get choked up a lot of times when I'm mixing, and not just some love ballad. I get choked up. It's a slamming rocker, if it's a orchestral type song, if it's a jazz song or whatever. Once you tap into that extra higher level, okay, of emotion, it's undeniable. And a lot of times when I'm mixing and reach a state of that, of being emotional when I'm mixing and I'm really feeling the song, I actually feel a bit exhausted. It's tiring, it's exhausting because I'm fully invested. I've given everything that I can to bring forward an emotion, okay, in that song. So you have to have a level of curiosity. So many people in life, they'll just go through life, and by the time they hit their early 20s or 22, 23, well, sure, their eyes might be open and they might be living, but they're kind of dead. They've lost something that is so important to me that children have right out of the gate through their childhood for quite a long time. And that's a zeal for being curious. When you're curious, you're wondering, well, what if? What if I did this? Or I wonder what would happen if I did this EQ move, or I wonder if I had these scene changes. And that's another thing that makes mixing great. For me, a big part of mixing to create emotion, to really engage the listener into a listening experience that's fully satisfying, is to not only have scene changes between a verse and a B section and a chorus and whatever, it's to have contrasts within environment. So that, let's say you have a piano that's really cavernous, or like a concert hall or whatever, and then to have a lead vocal bone dry right in your face, and to have that level of contrast. And then the chorus hits, and you might switch up the overall environments between the guitars and the vocal. Now the vocal is swimming in effects or whatever and has a totally different thing, but maybe the guitars are dry or bone dry. And little contrasts like that, changing like a wet lead vocal and dry background vocals, or the opposite of that, to have a snare that changes a little bit, like a drier drum sound in the verse, and then the chorus, it's like Bonham in the Vatican or something. Just ridiculous changes. As long as they sound musical and make sense, that can bring just a roller coaster ride of emotion to a listener. And it makes a record have repeatability in being listened to and enjoyed. Instead of listening to a song 5 times, you'll listen to it 50 times or 100 times or 500 times, because there's always something there. And when you're automating in a mix, when things move a little bit here and there and are being ridden, that's what keeps things interesting. Okay? So having a curiosity level, having the boldness to go for stuff, even if it's ridiculous, and to be willing to fail or to learn, as long as you're open to do whatever it takes to improve as a mixer, to define new areas within a song that otherwise you wouldn't stumble upon unless you went for something weird. Or that's how happy accidents happen. When a happy accident happened, you left a send wide open on something and forgot to mute it, and suddenly it hits a part in the song, and here comes this instrument, and it just sounds like the Taj Mahal or something, and it was never meant to be that way. Have the sensibility to say, wait a minute, There's something about that that's really cool. Or a note that a guitar playing, when you're producing a record, a bass guitarist playing a record, his part on a record, and he goes for something and he hits a note at the top of a chorus or something, or in a B section, you go, and they go, oh, stop, and you go, wait a minute, let's look at that. Be really open and sensitive to fully engage in the experience. If you do that, you're going to come up with the most freshest, emotional records that are going to be so satisfying and are going to be just amazing. And people are going to come to you to mix their records because you're offering your own unique perspective. That's why mixing is so cool. It's like if you have a recipe to make a great, say, a pasta dish, and you have all the ingredients across your counter on your stove and you're ready to cook. Well, 10 different chefs with the same ingredients, the same recipe, that meal is going to turn out probably pretty extremely different with each chef that makes that dish. Everybody's going to have their own interpretation depending on how long you get the oil heated up or how long it's heated up, when you add exactly a certain thing, if you add your ingredients a certain way. So go for stuff, create your own flavor, create your own signature within what you do, and you're going to end up always being open to creating incredible records, and you're going to have a blast doing it. You're going to enjoy the process, you're going to have fun, and even when you're not having fun, just the sheer challenge and curiosity of it all is going to keep you excited about the process. Because mixing is not always fun. I always say, have fun when you're mixing. It'll really come out in the sound of your mixes. But a lot of times, I don't know, it's a puzzle, and I love mixing. I just love mixing, and it's not fun, but it's a blast, if you get what I'm saying. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you unlock some of the freedom and the joy in your mixing to make bolder, more emotional, dynamic records that have listenability for many, many years to come. Thanks for being here. If this video resonated with you at all, consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a like. That really helps me continue to make these videos. And until the next time, cheers, everybody.